Well, hello fellow crafters, Janine here, and today I'm going to be showing you how I made this really sweet card using my Cricut. The card as it is in Cricut is really simple, and you just cut it out of 3 pieces of cardstock. But as my usual style, I decided that I had to amp it up just a little bit. So basically what it does is cut the card base, the envelope, and then that cake detail that is on the yellow cardstock. But as you can see, there's a lot more elements going on. It's not just basically, cut out shapes. You can see that there's some more decorative papers and whatnot going on, because when I started to assemble a card and I started putting it together, it was simple, which is beautiful in its simplicity. But I don't often err on the side of simplicity when I'm designing cards. So I looked at it and I was like, it's beautiful in its simplicity, but I want to do more with it. So I pulled out some really fun pattern paper that I had and just went to town. So that's what I'm going to be showing you throughout this video is where to find the card within Cricut and edit it, cutting it out, and then taking the design to the next level and making the card really special. So let's get started making this super cute cake birthday card. Okay, the first thing you're going to want to do when you get logged into Design Space is click on the Insert Images option on the upper left hand corner. Then when you get to that screen, or the next screen after you click on that, you're going to want to click on Cartridges. And then if you want to narrow it down so you're only looking at the cartridges that you have through Access, if you're subscribed to that, is you'll click on the little filter button on the far top right and then click on Access, and it will filter that down to so you'll only be seeing the cartridges that you're actually subscribed to through Access. Unless you want to purchase one of the card images, but that's entirely up to you. But for this design, we're just going to be looking at the ones that we have available through Access. Now for the cake birthday card, I selected it from Botanical Cards, and then I clicked on View All the Images so that I could see all the images that were available on this particular cartridge. Now out of the options that were available, the one that I chose was called Flower Cake Card, and it is image number M8D9263. And I inserted it into my project by selecting the Insert Image option in the bottom right corner. Now once you have the image on your canvas, you can resize it, you can turn it, and that's what I did. I turned it 90 degrees to the left, so that way it would be more in the proportion that I'm used to looking at it on a sheet of paper. And so you can see that they have the resizing and moving options right there on the image itself, and I just resized it so that it would be as close to a regular A2 size card as I could possibly get it. And once you have it to the size that you want it, and all of these, when you see a group, or when you see a card that has an envelope on a Cricut cartridge, it is also going to, all the things are going to be grouped together. So the card, the envelope, and all the elements are going to be grouped together so that when you resize it, they all resize together. So once you've got it to the size you want it, then you would simply click on that green Go in the kind of top middle of the screen. Okay, and that's going to bring you to the screen where you're going to select the the product or material size that you're going to be using. So I selected 8.5 by 11 because that was the size of all the cardstock that I was using, and of course you have to do that for each layer, is choose the size of the product that you're using when you cut. And once you've got all of your sizes selected, then you're going to click on that green Go in the bottom right hand corner, and then that's going to bring you to this screen. Now of course I don't have my Cricut on or plugged in it to my computer at the moment, so that's why it shows that warning at the top. But you're basically going to set your dial to the appropriate setting for the type of material that you're working with, and then you're going to load your paper, and then you're going to click the green blinking Cricut light on your Cricut, and it's going to start cutting your materials. Okay, and you can see that I just loaded my gray cardstock onto my mat, and I hit the load button and then the green blinking Cricut symbol to tell it to go, and it's going to cut as well as score wherever is appropriate for what we're cutting. So with this envelope, it cut all the way around, and it also scored in the 4 places that you're going to want to fold the card up. And I've just carefully removed it from the mat. I have this in time lapse, but I was actually really taking my time with it so that there weren't any rips or tears. I'm still kind of learning about the settings with the Cricut for the appropriate, the appropriate setting to the appropriate cardstock, because sometimes I'm finding that I'm not getting the best cuts. Like on the card base, for instance, it didn't cut all the way through, and I really felt like at the setting it should have, but I just used my trimmer to finish cutting it by hand once I was done cutting everything out on the Cricut. And here I load the yellow cardstock to cut the cute little birthday cake image. And again, you can see that load, see, I adjusted the cardstock to try and get a better cut, and you can see the load button was blinking, and then the green go light was blinking. So I just pressed those and got it underway, and it cut the cute little cake image out. And this is where I brought the card base that didn't cut so well to my trimmer and cleaned it up so that it had a nice straight edge. And then I just folded it on the score line. And I still had a little bit to trim up where the Cricut didn't trim it that well. And then I went ahead and folded up the envelope as well, and just used my Stampin' Up! Snail adhesive to secure the sides together. I love that it cuts envelopes out and that they match perfectly to your project. It's just so wonderful. Now I'm picking out a piece of vellum from a Botanical Gardens. This is also a Stampin' Up! Product. I just wanted something that would make it kind of look like frosted glass, rather than leaving that area just completely blank for the little cake pedestal. I felt like a little bit of vellum would just give it that frosted glass look. So I just put it behind there and just kind of figured out the size that I would need and cut it appropriately. And that's what I did to take this little card design up a level, was to use patterned paper behind all the different elements of the cake. I just thought that would be really cute. So the other papers I'm working with are all from this paper stack from Walmart called Hootenanny, and I think it's a color book product. And so you can see I just, well, that one I did wrong. I realized I traced it onto the back so that I could cut out to the perfect size, but then I realized I had to flip the card over so that when everything was turned around, it would be in the proper location. So, you live and you learn, and you figure it out. So I flipped the card over to the where the right side was facing the back side of the paper. And so when I trimmed it out this time, and you can see I did leave a little bit around the edge so that when I would glue it, I would have an edge to glue it to. So I cut it about 1/8 of an inch larger than the actual trace size, so that it would have a little bit of an edge to glue. And then I use this pretty pink stripe paper just to cut a little piece out for the candle. And I'm just making sure everything fits. And then on the dotted paper there was orange dots, so I cut out just a little bit of one of the orange dots for the flame on the candle. And then I figured those little flowers on this paper would be just right for the size flower that adorns the cake, and I was right. So I was just kind of figuring the placement out, what was going to be the best location, where the flower would pretty much fill up the space available. And you can see I'm still just continuing to kind of play with it and see what's going to be the best way to do it. And I think I got a little bit impatient, so I just kind of started throwing glue on everything and putting it all together, and figured what will be, because I can overthink and overfuss things to death. And then I cut the little green center out of another one of the flowers to glue on top of the design, because I thought that would just be that little extra touch that it needed. And so I trimmed up around the flower so that it wouldn't overlap into the cake area. And again, figured out where I wanted it, and then traced onto the back of it so that I could trim it out and it would fit perfectly in the space and not overlap into the cake area. And you see my little glue bottle is something I got from Amazon. It's for quilling. They put glue in it, paper glue in it, and it has this extra fine little point, and it makes little projects like this so easy. And I think it was maybe $2, and it's a 2-ounce size, I believe. And I really love it. And the type of glue that I use, I also like a whole lot. It is by it's the same brand as Decoupage glue. My brain just went completely blank, but it is specifically for paper, and it's a matte glue, so that if some of it gets outside of your project, you don't see it, because it dries completely matte, and it doesn't have any glossy finish whatsoever. So if it goes outside of your project a little bit, you don't see it at all, and I love it for that. And you can see I placed the vellum over the spot where I wanted it, and used so that I could use it as a template for applying my glue. And then once I put it up next to the gray cardstock, it just still seemed so plain to me. So I cut another piece, or I finished cutting. I used the stripe paper that I'd already cut into, and cut a mat to go behind the cake. And I felt like that was really cute, and that kind of brought it to that next level, a little bit more visual interest. So I started to assembling the card, again using my snail adhesive by Stampin' Up. And I'm using some leftover fun foam, self-adhesive fun foam that I had to pop up the yellow cardstock with the cake image, to pop it up on the card and give it a little bit more dimension. I love fun foam for this. And I find that my double-sided adhesive that came from Punch Place Plus, and I always forget their new name. I think it's Chameleon Crafts, but I'm not 100% on that. And then where I kind of overlapped my fun foam over my vellum, I didn't really want the fun foam to show through the pedestal, the cake pedestal, so I just trimmed it up to remove that. And then I used the double-sided adhesive from Punch Place Plus. It's basically the same thing as score tape. I find that the fun foam doesn't necessarily take every adhesive on the colored side, the non-adhesive side, that some adhesives just won't stick to it, but this double-sided adhesive absolutely does, and it's wonderful for that. It is so strong, and it really holds things together. It's very cost-effective, it's not terribly expensive, and it works like a dream. So it's something I do recommend. It's a product that I love using in my craft room, and I use it over and over and over again. And I'm just taking all of the backing off of the self-adhesive, or the double-sided adhesive. And you see I had a couple little pieces. I didn't waste anything. I used them on that little cut piece there below the pedestal. And thought this card is really cute. I think it's absolutely adorable. But it still needed something. So of course I stamped Happy Birthday on the inside, and I think that's it's a memento color, and I think it's Lilac Posies or something like that. And I used it to stamp the Happy Birthday on the inside, and that Happy Birthday came from a paper pumpkin kit. And of course my Made by Janine Rick on the back. And I'm sitting there just thinking, what did this card need something? It still just seemed like it lacked a little bit of luster, so I used an enamel dot in the middle of the flower, and then decided to bring some sequins into it. I thought that would be fun. It would make it look like confetti. So I'm using these little glue dots that I have. They're a 3M product, and they also came in a paper pumpkin kit, and they're really handy for sticking sequins on. I absolutely love them for this purpose. They're just the right size for sequins, and these glue dots are really, really strong. So after I got about 3 on there, I thought, oh, this is good. 3 sequins, a little bling, a little shine. But you know me well enough to know that that just wasn't enough. So I added some more on, feeling like it would really look like confetti if there was a little bit more on there. So I added a few more sequins. These came from a Simon Says stamp kit last spring around Easter time, I believe. And I still had plenty left over because I didn't use not anywhere near all of them for that card kit project. So by the time I got done adding the sequins, I felt like this card was complete. I absolutely love it. I think it's adorable. I can't wait to give it to its recipient. So this is an idea of how you can take a Cricut project really kick it up a notch and make it something super special and unique. And it's not going to look like anything anyone else has done, because of course you're going to use the paper and the products that are available to you in your stash. Well, I really hope you enjoyed another Cricut project from Janine's Craft Room. If you like these sorts of projects, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And as always, you have a very blessed day. Bye now.